Now, for now, it's not entirely clear if we can bring across this whole idea here within this short talk, but this is a very, very serious idea. I want to have that said. It's not just spontaneous, and there's a lot of momentum behind it already, and anyone who feels that what we're trying to introduce here is interesting should talk to us afterwards, because we need a lot of people and there's only a small window of opportunity to do something like this. So, okay, but what is the Offshore Publication Center? So it would provide a specialized set of laws, same as the Finance Center. So we could just say we're taking the source protection laws from Sweden, for example, that exist. They are proven laws accepted by society as established in a country. We could take the First Amendment from the United States. We could take Belgium protection laws for journalists, and we could all pack these together in one bundle and make it fit for the first jurisdiction that offers the necessities of an information society. Everyone in this room should understand that all of these freedoms in respect to information are really at stake at the moment. These people are upgrading all the time. They are going from nation states to Europe, and it's going international, and we have the ACTA stuff and whatnot, and they're trying to get to our information on all possible ways. So we thought we'd just have to upgrade as well, maybe, and go from the defense to the attack and create something that is fit, create a Switzerland of bits. Just finish that up. So, when Julian mentioned that for the first time, we talked about this for a bit, and it seemed like a very interesting thought experiment. And then we were in Iceland, and when we arrived in Iceland, we found out that the largest political TV show wants us as guests. It's a Sunday show that apparently almost everyone watches. So we just thought, why not drop the idea on that Sunday TV show as a new business model for Iceland? So we did. And in the show, the guy sitting opposite to us, he was just lighting up in his face when he heard this. And the next day, basically everyone in Iceland wanted to talk about it. We had radio interviews, we had newspaper interviews, everyone wanted to know more. We met with the press union, and we talked to a lot of people living in Iceland. And they all see why this could be of use to them. But we'll talk about why Iceland is a good place maybe in a bit. What does this mean for all of you? This is something that is important to understand. Right now, there is a potential to actually pull this thing off in Iceland. We have started it. Lawyers in Iceland are working on a bill that will be introduced on the 26th of January. And this could provide the first counter step, the first safe haven where everyone else is trying to erode all our freedoms. So we could have the opposite. And there is an opportunity that we could make sure by this that all our voices are not being silenced by anyone, and that all our information at least has a last resort where we could push it to. So why Iceland? Maybe that is something we need to elaborate on.
I'm glad this is getting such positive reception.
Yes, no, this is important. This reception is very important because this will need everyone's support.
Yes, that is true. Despite the fact that we have met with cross-party MPs, including from the government in Iceland, and there's now even MPs in the Icelandic Parliament of 63 who wear WikiLeaks badges when they're speaking. There's plenty of geopolitical incidences that could happen to derail it. So it needs careful planning and thought, and people to not lose energy or momentum. So this crisis in Iceland in the banks resulted in a 50% reduction in the price of the Icelandic currency, which was then totally frozen as a tradable currency at all. So who knows where it actually is. So that shock created a quasi-revolutionary environment in Iceland. And you had, for the first time since Iceland joined NATO, riots in the streets. And this is riots in the streets. Reykjavik has 200,000 people. So, and a storming of parliament and change of government in April and new MPs being elected. So this is a country which is also used to getting things done very quickly in a legislative sense. And that's the same reason that these offshore financial havens are little countries. That you can quickly get through a new package of laws because you don't have to harmonize with a whole bunch of existing laws, because there just aren't a whole bunch of existing laws. And there isn't a great big lobbies in the country. So yes, you could probably do healthcare in Iceland in a week. Not 30 years like in the US. Actually, that probably won't be done there either. So when people are involved in a crisis, they see that actually all the things that you thought were important aren't so important anymore. And the standard of what you can do, because you've seen a whole bunch of bad people, in this case, do bad things, changes. And these... yes, okay. I'm being desync with the slides. Okay, so for Iceland, there's particular issues with the UK, which is great for this issue. So the UK is the world's worst liberal democracy. It's not just the weather. It's... there are right now between 200 and 300 secret gag orders in operation in the UK. So this is according to a law firm that does work for the majority of the news organisations in the UK. Secret gag orders means gag orders where you cannot speak about the fact you've been gagged. So you haven't just received injunctions saying you can't write about an oil company incident in Africa, but actually you can't write about the fact that you have been gagged from writing about an oil company incident that happened in Africa. And similarly, there's libel tourism is an international scandal in the UK, and New York has taken out and passed through both its houses legislation to say that if there's a libel judgment in the UK on an American, well, they can't collect it in New York. It's that scandalous. Similar legislation has gone through the lower house of Congress last year, Federal Congress, United States. Now, Iceland really is unhappy with a lot of things that happened in the UK. And it had one of these some of its people, media, had a libel tourism judgment against them, also from London courts. You want to talk about the data centre?
Yeah, well, yes. So.
Yes. Okay. And Iceland had the highest human development index of any country in the world, and it has gone from that position into obviously a lowered financial position. But it's seen the direct effects of UK bullying, IMF bullying, and actually bullying from the Netherlands and Denmark as well. So the population there has been radicalized in a way that is really unthinkable for the rest of modern Europe. It's had a sort of Berlin Wall moment in January, and the effects of that are proceeding along. Iceland is trying to enter into the EU, and the UK is actually using that as an extortion point to get 4 years' worth of GDP paid out from Iceland to the UK. So the moment is now to get legislation into Iceland. Because once it's in the Iceland before it's in the EU, then it will bring those laws to the EU as a member state. Not to the whole EU, but it will provide an example for others. But if we wait until Iceland is in the EU, then there's going to be a lot more forces trying to prevent Iceland passing this sort of legislation.
Yes. So, quite importantly, what we also see is that Iceland is one of the first victims of the First World as well. So this is an example that we need to take very very serious. It's the first time now that the IMF, for example, so the International Monetary Fund,